So today, on our first day home from school, we're going to be learning about using context and Greek mythology within our own reading. So today our learning target is we're going to learn about allusions to Greek mythology in my reading so I can understand phrases and ideas better. And I will know I have it when I have it when I understand the allusion and how I could find it in my reading. So first, we have to know what an allusion is. An allusion is when something is mentioned, but it is never defined. So an example of that would be Pandora's box. So in Greek mythology, Pandora is a woman, and she was given a box that contained bad things that had never been let out into the world. So some of these things were sadness, sickness, pain, and grief. And she was nosy, so she decided to open this box. And when she did, it let all of the bad things out into the world. So an example of this that we could find in our own reading would be Allie knew that by telling on her friend, she would be opening Pandora's box. This would show us that by what Allie was doing, by tattling on her friend, that she was going to be opening up or doing something that she felt like might open up something that wasn't good. Another example would be Herculean. So Hercules was a hero in Greek mythology, and he was the strongest man in the world because he was a son of Zeus. And he was punished as a young man and was forced to perform 12 tasks or labors. And these were amazing things like battling monsters and going on these giant missions. So if you were to see this in your own reading, so an example would be with a Herculean effort, Rob lifted the cart off the man trapped underneath. And this would just show that when referenced, Herculean would mean great strength. Another example would be Achilles' heel. So Achilles was a soldier who fought in some of the Greek wars, and he was very powerful and strong and was said to have no weaknesses. However, he ended up being killed by an arrow that was shot into his heel. And so he obviously did have a weakness. It was his heel. So if you were to hear it in reading, Maggie knew that chocolate was her Achilles' heel. It would just show that the person that had an Achilles' heel doesn't actually have an Achilles' heel. It's just their weakness. So the last one that we're going to talk about, or one of the last ones we're going to talk about, is Cupid. Cupid was a Roman god who was depicted as a young winged boy. You've probably seen him during Valentine's Day. And an example of this would be Diane knew Sam had asked her not to get involved in his personal life, but she couldn't resist the urge to play Cupid and set him up with Rebecca. So sometimes you'll hear Cupid referred to as a matchmaker, or somebody who's playing a Cupid as being a matchmaker. And the last one is a nemesis. So sometimes you might hear a nemesis as somebody who is being punished or has some kind of challenge against them. And Nemesis was actually a Greek goddess of retribution. Her job was to punish other gods for breaking laws. And so an example would be he used all of his willpower to stay on the diet, but the donut shop next door proved to be his nemesis. So today we are going to be looking at allusions within Greek mythology. We're doing this so that we can understand that phrases and ideas better. And you're going to know you have it because you will go ahead and read a passage to learn a little bit more about these Greek goddesses so that tomorrow you'll be able to actually practice this within your own reading.